knew that I was about to take the MCAT. He knew that like those things were about to happen for me. And then the overwhelming idea of like, oh, she's actually there. She's going to be a doctor. And then realize that that's real now. Then he just decides, I don't really want to date her anymore.
Mm.
He deterred me. He said, I don't think that's, what, you should just be a nurse. You shouldn't be a doctor. You don't need to be a doctor. And that was it. You don't need to be a doctor. And so that's primarily why I'm a nurse now. Okay, so John, I want to talk more about this girl boss sort of thing in relationships. I have two main questions. I want you to go over whether or not that makes a female more or less attractive, and
Less.
and why.
Okay. Because it's not what men want. Like girls like a guy that's a boss, but like guys are not like, oh dude, did you see that girl? She's like so bossy and like the way she just handles these meetings is so sexy. Like we're just not like that, right? That's why girls are posting their pictures of their ass on Instagram, not pictures of their degrees and of their Excel spreadsheets. You know what I mean? Like let's just keep it real here. That's typically what men want. Is like men or that's what typically what women want from men. You know what I mean? They want a guy to be the boss, the fucking the alpha, the big bad dude who's like comes in there, everybody like, oh, hello sir, how are you? They want the guy that everybody respects. But I think this whole girl boss thing is really just a marketing trick that a lot of American girls just fell for, quite honestly. Like what I've noticed is that girls just like they feel guilt. They almost feel like guilty because they're not like contributing financially to the relationship or whatever. I don't know. It's just it's an anomaly. I don't understand. Like, so let me ask you this. So what's your deal? Like, why do you want to be a girl boss? Why don't you want to be like I'm like, just want to be sexy wife vibes, stay home, bake cakes, look hot for my husband, you know, sew
Well,
his shirt if it rips. You know what I mean? Like, what's the allure of girl boss? Because I have it on multiple on my multiple dating sites that I use. Um, you know, I put specifically like very not interested in the girl boss type.
that's interesting. I think it's important to me because I'm trying to attract a certain man.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's probably why. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
want to be. I mean, I want to be a provider. Actually, I think I want someone who accepts me for being the girly me, but is
Mm-hmm.
also okay with me like contributing a little bit. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not all of it, but like a little bit, or maybe someone who appreciates that I have the story to one day share with my children. I was able to accomplish this goal, and
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, maybe I just want a little bit of both. I don't see myself only being one thing. I don't see myself being at home only. I I have to have a lot of things to do. Maybe it's my personality type too. I have to be doing so many different things. I love the entrepreneurship vibes
Mm-hmm.
as well. So I mean, I'm studying, but I have a couple side projects as well. And the kind of man that I hope is interested in that will will like me for me, and will like that anyway. I hope. Well, I hope.
Mm-hmm. So you're giving off these boss vibes to like attract a high value man to scare away weaker men. Is that what it is?
I would like to think of myself as a high value woman. So
Hmm.
I'd like to attract a high value man who
Right,
knows.
but let's stay on topic with the girl boss thing. Where does girl boss come into here? Because high value men don't like girl boss.
I I girl boss.
I'm just speaking from an experience of
Yeah.
as a high value man. Like my friends, my network of friends. I have a few multimillionaires that I chat with. And I'm not trying to say that to show off, but just like if you were to financially consider a multimillionaire a high value man, we typically don't quite frankly, we don't care about like the girl boss thing. Like we're the boss. That's why we're high value men. And again, going back to that, a relationship, two bosses, not going to work. Like you need a boss, and you need an employee, right? You need a president, you need a vice president, you need a captain, and you need a first mate. And the first mate is basically like, yes, sir, to the captain. Like we should go in your direction. Maybe if we adjust the sails a couple of angles this way, we can get there faster. Watch out for that iceberg. I know you want to get to here, but that iceberg's there and it could potentially kill us. A first mate is just like the captain. It's an extension of the captain's consciousness, right? Like I want a girl who wants to be an extension of my consciousness. So if I'm gonna be like, I want to make this money every month and I want to build this YouTube channel, I want to have properties and I want to have just a tumultuous amount of money coming in and every single month getting more and more rich and invest in a way that I don't have to like pay a ridiculous amount of taxes and like we can have enough for us and our eventual family. But I don't need her coming in there and be like, well, I think you should do it like this or we should do it this way. Like I don't want that. And high value men, they run from that too. They don't deal with that at all.
So
So
how is this to say that these high value men only value a sexual or beautiful woman, and that's, it just sounds like to me that these kinds of men only want a beautiful woman, and in that sense I would not be attracted to that kind of man if I know that if it's only beauty that they're looking for, if they have
mhm.
nothing else to offer in the marriage or relationship and beauty and household chores is all they can offer, then it makes like me as a woman feel like, wow, then if that's all femininity is, then like clearly, for instance, like we discussed, marriage is not worth it. I want it so that marriage is worth it.
Mhm.
So in order to differentiate myself from every other beautiful woman in the sea, of course I'm going to pursue higher education because I
Mhm.
value myself, because I know I can contribute to a marriage, a
Mhm.
long-term relationship. I am
Mhm.
more than just a sexy butt on Instagram,
Mhm.
which I do see women do. I understand the sale of the beautiful buttock, like
Mhm.
that's great, but it
Mhm.
doesn't provide a lot of value when every female has a buttock, like every
Yeah.
female has one. So
Yeah.
so how is it for a successful person to say, oh well, she's beautiful, beautiful, I can replace her because I every female can do a household chore and look beautiful. So now how does that protect the woman from a true and sincere love because he likes her for who she is? And and again, there are a lot of beautiful women who are nice.
Mhm. Well, I think you see. I think you're mixing up what femininity is, because you think femininity is just being really pretty and then doing household chores, but it's not. It's not. And like, hot girls are a dime a dozen. Who cares, right? Because what some girls don't seem to realize is like, as men, after we have sex with you for the first time, like the allure, like the big part of the allure is almost gone. And then from there, for me, like these days, I don't even care if a girl's hot. Like, I mean, I would sleep with her for sure, right? Because I'm a fucking guy. I enjoy having sex with really hot girls because it's just what we're here for. Um, but if you want me to keep you around, there needs to be more than that. And I did. It's not just cleaning. Like I can hire a cleaning lady. I can hire like a 55-year-old lady who's just wants to clean while she, with her grandkids are at
So
school or
you want a
something.
woman who values herself.
I want a woman who values me. I don't. I'm not so worried about her valuing herself. Like I don't want her self-esteem dragging us into the dirt for sure. But no, I mean, quite frankly, that doesn't really cross my mind. Like if she values herself or not, I don't really care. I want her to value me, and I want her to be on the Jonathan plan. So that's my thing. I don't really, and I think guys don't really care about that stuff. Like again, going back to it, what do we like? Um, you know, yeah, it
So
seems to
you
me like
like
you think you think like you think it's like lesser to be like just like a housewife. I think you feel like I feel like you have a little bit of a complex. Like you're like, well, I need to contribute equally to this relationship, but guys don't think like that. We think like we just want a girl who will be supportive of us. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
we have our goals and our dreams. How many times have we been like, I used to date this girl, right? I dumped her because she deserved it. But
Oh,
she used to tell me, you will never make it on YouTube. She said, you'll never make. So my goal was initially, my goal was $10,000 a month net profit from the internet, right?
nice.
From YouTube. And I've accomplished that goal. And now it feels that goal feels actually minuscule to me, right? It feels like almost like a joke. But when I was first dating her, I would work hard every day. I worked 3 jobs. I would go to the gym to maintain my physique at the same time, which is very hard to do. And then I would come home and she would be like, you really need to give up this dream of you being a YouTuber. It's like, she said, you kind of sound crazy. And that's like me telling you, like, Tawny, like, you're you're dumb and you could never become a surgeon because you're, I don't know, let's just say some arbitrary reason, you're 29, and so you're too old to become a medical student. Or like, how would you feel like if you were my girlfriend and you were working hard, you're studying all day for the MCAT, you're doing all the prereqs, or chemistry 1, chemistry 2, organic chem 1, organic chem 2, microbiology, all these crazily difficult course. I was pre-med too, but I gave that up to become a YouTuber. So I did a lot of the prereqs. And
Yeah.
so how would you feel if every day, like, you were studying so hard and then you came on, I was like, God, Tony, you're such a loser. Like, you're never going to become, uh, what do you call it? A surgeon. How would you feel about like
I
that?
mean, I know exactly how it feels. It feels terrible because I get it sometimes, but in a
From
relationship,
who? The mystery
uh,
guy?
no. Mystery guy is very supportive, but
Good.
what I'm saying is, I think you're right. I think that a female who is not supportive of her partner's endeavors is not that's not a healthy behavior in a relationship for sure. But I think a female and a male can have, I don't know, like, would you date a successful female who designs lingerie, and she's a girl boss, she designs lingerie.
If she left the girl boss nonsense at the office and she came home and she was like, I'm gonna put on my sexy lingerie and I'm
But
gonna
she
grill
designed,
you.
right?
Yeah, that's right. It's like, I'm gonna do that nasty thing you like me to do tonight, and then I'm gonna cook you steak and asparagus and massage you until you fall asleep. Then could it work? Yeah, but I there cannot be a semblance of this girl boss lifestyle interfering in our household. And for me personally, I need your attention. I need you to work for me to an extent. If it Because a relationship is also like a business, right?
Hmm.
And so I need you to, when I say, hey, like, if we need to go pick up little Timmy and you're like, oh, sorry, can't. I'm like, dude, I'm with the lingerie design team or something, and it's affecting our household, then I'm not okay with that. Anything that comes between the family, first, like, and if you're being a provider, um, I don't need you to be a provider. I'm a man. I'll provide, you know? I,
It kind of reminds me of, like, what defines a girl boss vibe, because for me, as I pursue being a physician,
Mhm.
like, maybe it's not defined as girl boss because I know I would drop that stuff in an instant for my children. It's just the job that I love to do. It's my passion. So,
Mhm.
um, when I say girl boss, if I identify as one,
Mhm.
um, I would have to redefine it, actually. So for me, being a physician is embodying a specific passion that I like, but it's not the center of my world. And I don't stomp on other people, or I wouldn't not lift up my partner in
Mhm.
reservation to keep mine. It's not something selfish of me. Like, my medical career is not one that is selfish. It is one that to just enhance what I know, and then one day be a mother.
Mhm.
There may be girl bosses out there that overly prioritize it to the point where they're like, I'm the boss and you're not. And then they'll say, you can't do that, or they'll say, that's wrong, you're doing it all wrong. I can see how those behaviors are more masculine and cannot that's not, that's very toxic actually in the relationship. Sometimes I see people pointing at that behavior as being girl
Mhm.
boss. I actually don't. Like, that's just straight up toxic behavior, to be unkind to your
Mhm.
partner, unsupportive to your partner. That's not what that shouldn't be a in a relationship at all. And
Mhm.
it sucks that it happened in yours too, and you've experienced that. That is very masculine energy and totally doesn't mix.
Yeah, I didn't need it, and so, like I said, she had that. I just like I said, going back to that, like nobody should deal with that kind of relationship at all when somebody is actively, for lack of better words, shitting on your dreams every single day.
Was repetitive? Was repetitive like that?
Her what?
Was she doing it over and over again, or was it just
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah. She
Oh
was nutbag.
man.
Um, sex was great. That's why I stayed. But it was only you know what? Even me, and it was a stretch. But I dated her off and on for like 11 months. So again, and then where is she now? Like, so I'm here winning. She's not, to say the least. We'll just put it that way. We'll be nice about it, but it's just something you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear somebody shitting on your dreams all the time. So again, there should be a synergy in the relationship, is what I'm going back to. There should be mutual support, but I don't. Kind of similar to your parents. Like, your mom wasn't like, hey, Mr. Tawny's dad, like, hey, you got to give up this whole fucking bullshit of being a surgeon, and like you got to follow my dreams. Like, he would probably left her if she wasn't on
Yeah.
his
Oh yeah. Yeah.
on
Yeah.
his
That doesn't
page.
work.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was more of a. I agree. Like, it was just a moment in time where she realized, I think it's time to combine what we know and make something greater. Make a kingdom, out of a small house. Make a palace out of a small tower. And that's what the beauty is, when you find the right person and you know that the goals are aligned. Um, yeah. I look forward to something like that. I would
Uh,
I would definitely look
yeah.
for something like that.
I don't think it's. I think you have a. How much of this girl? Where did this girl boss idea come from for you? Because I mean, I quite frankly, I hate the term.
Well,
And
I
it's so
think
funny because I see.
it's
Are you familiar with the website Seeking Arrangement?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
Hmm.
Um,
So Seeking Arrangement is basically like a sugar daddy site, right? And
mhm,
so, but a lot of girls use it as a filter to not to date guys that basically aren't financially loose, guys who have their shit together. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And I can't tell you how many of these like quote unquote girl bosses that, because I live in Tokyo, right? And one of my favorite pastimes is scrolling through LinkedIn and then finding these girl bosses on LinkedIn, also on Seeking Arrangement. LinkedIn, like, I'm a girl boss, I'm the shit, I'm this and that. And then on Seeking Arrangement, she's like, yeah, I'll sell you pictures of my feet and this or whatever for like $100. So to see the contrast is very, very funny. And I think a lot of girls don't. I think a lot of chicks in America, they're a little detached from reality. They don't understand like the reality of life versus like their ideal, because they think they can have it all. I'm rational enough as a man to know that I know I can't have it all. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like, I know there's sacrifice involved with um getting to where I want to be, and I know that I can't have everything in life. Like, I do want kids for sure,
Mhm.
but I don't want kids right now, and I'm 34. So for some girls, even if I were to get married to a girl like your age, 29, if I told a girl like, yeah, I don't want to have kids for like another 5, 6 years, then that puts her in a position where she's 35, 36, and then she has to be an older mother, which biologically speaking, there's a couple danger points there, and there's also the strain on the body. When girls have babies younger, the body snaps back. The babies are typically healthier. healthier, right? You know, after 35, the probability of autism goes up,
Yeah.
along with a bunch of other potential medical diseases that can come with delaying child rearing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the risk of you know, genetic risks are just much higher when you're older.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would agree with that.
But yeah, the girl boss thing, I don't know. I think overall it's a net negative for women. I think you need to give up the girl boss thing. And anybody who typically, and here's another thing, right? Anybody who typically encourages this girl boss thing, usually there's some kind of financial incentive behind them. Like, you need to be a girl boss, just take a loan and go to college. Yeah, sure, you're gonna have to pay crazy interest. And like, for example, medical school is gonna cost you minimum $250,000, right?
Hmm.
Absolute minimum $250,000. So like that again, there is an incentive behind that. I think, and especially in America, there's a lot. I mean, who do you see pushing this girl boss thing? Like these social media giants and stuff with their little hashtags, right? When I see these kind of like social media companies and nonsense pushing these like, girl boss vibes and stuff, it makes no sense. And the number one thing that doesn't make sense here, Tawny, is how many of these quote unquote girl bosses do you see that are happy and in a relationship versus aspiring girl bosses who are miserable and single?
You know, if there's anything that I can can gather about the girl boss idea, I think there's too many definitions underneath the girl boss.
Mm-hmm.
Some people use it as a brand name. Some people use it as just a means to sell something. Some people just use it to feel important. Some people use it to feel like they're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I think the real girl bosses probably don't even use that word. They're probably already just making stuff happen without having to advertise
Exactly. Now you're talking.
it. So like for me, you're not going to see anywhere on my social media where I advertise girl boss or anything like that. I just know that
Mm-hmm.
I understand what my goal is, and then I just go for it. And
Mm-hmm.
people know what my goal is. I'm happy to share that information. And I just don't give up. I'm not quitting. I don't give up. I just keep moving. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect, but if I were to define girl boss for me, that's what girl boss is for me, is having a defined interest in something in life that gives you happiness and fulfillment and never giving up. So that's something I would identify with a little bit better. Do you find that that a balance between a masculine and feminine energy is more like understanding what it means to be feminine and what it means to be masculine? And sometimes women uh, don't don't they don't remember what that looks like. And I want to track back to when you were saying there's um, a theme of femininity dying. Like we're forgetting about what it means to be feminine. Can you
Yeah.
describe what you think what happened? Like why did that happen? You know, as we progress in the dating culture, like why do you think you see that happen?
Well, um, I mean that's a deep rabbit hole we'd have to dive down just to give you the TLDR. Um, like basically in America, everything is about money and everything's about business, right? And so now somewhere along the line, girls kind of have lost their way, and I think it's due to the influence of mainstream media, right? Because you got like look at mainstream media now, right? We're all like, so I'm 34, you're 29, like we're kind of like near in generations, only a 5 year gap, so you can kind of see that like when we were younger, it was NSYNC, there's Backstreet Boys, there's Britney Spears, you know what I mean? And like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, like everybody was like cool and everybody's just doing their own thing. But media kind of evolved into this kind of like, okay, let's get all guys pedestalizing women. Like have you ever heard that song, Won't You Stay With Me? You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
If a guy like was outside your window singing that song, honestly, would you be like, "Oh my god, I love this guy," or would you be like, "This guy's creep"? Like, what is that's too much? Or Well, is
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, I think it'd be a little, I mean, in this day and age, I think that'd be, I mean, it's endearing, but it's a little much. You don't need to do that.
that the lyrics and stuff, and then on the other side, like every song is like some girl boss, like men ain't shit, and like fuck these men, we don't need a man, just get a job, girl. Like, and I think I don't know, I think it's funny like how girls have been kind of I think it's capitalism at its finest, really, because
That is interesting.
um
Yeah.
yeah, because girls, let's be honest, if you look at the numbers, men make money, women spend it, right? I think like in America, it's true. I think in America, I believe like 80% of all household consumer decisions are made by a woman, right? And look at student debt in the United States. 2/3 of all student debt in the United States is held by women as well. So I think it's more of a capitalism machine, because it's funny. Like sometimes I talk to younger girls and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm driven. I want to be a CEO and I want to be this and that." I'm like, "I do you really want to be that, or did somebody tell you you should be that?" Because it seems like a script almost when I hear it so often. So yeah, that stuff like that makes me raise an eyebrow. But let's be honest, look at the numbers. Americans are not that good at relationships. 50% divorce rate. You know, there's the I think American women are the unhappiest women in the world. They documented that recently. Like, and like American women are like we're the most free and we're the most woke and like we're the most awesome. But it's like, yeah, but the numbers don't add up to you being happy, healthy, or financially stable or whatever. And then so it's funny because then you have a certain branch of girls that would turn around like, yeah, well, this is because men have oppressed us for years. But it's like I don't understand this kind of insane logic, because like what, and so in your world, like women are better than men, but women are held down because of men, even though women are better than men. So men should be the ones to save women, even though women are better than men in the first place. It's like we're like there's
You made
no
it so confusing.
yeah, there's no logic, there's no real truth to that, in my opinion. So going back to the statement, like my biggest riddle in life, and I was actually talking to Megan about this, was like how can how can we replicate femininity, like how can we teach femininity? Because I've been all around the world. I've traveled, obviously I live in Tokyo now, been to Korea, Thailand, Colombia, South Africa, all over Europe, the islands. I lived in Hawaii for a year, which is like not America. It's wild. Um, and then I noticed just like girls from mainland America are really not that feminine. Girls in the South are kind of feminine, like the kind of like the hillbilly types. I love those girls. The girls that'll wake you up with biscuits and gravy and sausage. Those girls are great, but I just think like femininity is kind of uh, a lost art, if you will, in the States. And I think that want to know, a powerful man wants a feminine woman, femininity,
Femininity.
girly girl, if you will. Like, are you a girly girl, Tani? Do you bake cookies and stuff?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I would identify as a girly girl.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
I like that term, femininity. Um, I think something that comes to mind is that it's also a topic that I've heard just kind of around that embodies this femininity
Hmm.
part and the whole girl boss thing. What would you say about someone who says, "Hey, I think this girl is just coming across as aggressive." Like, I don't know, have you heard that term before? Like, this girl is just really aggressive with just what she wants with me. Like, what does that what does that kind of what kind of ideas populate in a male's mind when he comes across an aggressive female?
I think the main idea that comes across his mind is probably run, right? Like, I don't want to deal with an aggressive chick. Like,
Yeah,
again,
a giant
aggression.
man.
It's a masculine trait. Like if I wanted to date somebody who had like masculine traits, like I'd be gay. You know what I mean? But I'm not. Like, I'm a man and I like women. And so I'm really, I'm really determined in the sense of just living life on my own terms. And I think that in itself is a very masculine trait.
Mhm.
So, you know, I just have these goals and dreams that I want. And again, with a feminine woman, like I just want her to come and assist me in building my kingdom. You know what I mean? And that's what I want. I'm not saying that's a blanket statement for what all men should want, but I think traditionally speaking, and looking at different cultures and just objectively analyzing the entire thing, I mean, we got to where we are as humans with this current system that nature has put before us. I mean, we see it in animals, we see it everywhere. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Where the man is typically the leader and the woman is the nurturing supporter. And as Americans, we have gotten away from that, and our relationships are a mess. And also, um, people aren't happy. People aren't like people in America. Like, I don't care what you say. Life is better when you're with somebody or you have somebody that you want to be with. You know what I mean? Life is better with somebody, whether it be a friend, relationship, whatever. And I think that by like veering away from this traditional model that has been working forever, we're kind of experimenting, and it's a pretty bad experiment because again, like, I think a lot of good things come from the nuclear family,
Yeah.
father, mother, working together to take care of the kids, right? Like that's what we're here to do as humans.
I like that. And it really reminds me of this just I did have the topic of marriage in mind.
Hmm.
When do you think marriage is like when it's time for marriage, or do men want marriage as perhaps women want it, or do they both want it as much as each other?
I think women want it more because I think the average guy now, especially in the United States, when you look at like the legal system, a lot of young kids, I work with a lot of young guys like 18 to 22, and then they're like, yeah, I don't want to get married because if she at any point during the relationship decides, yeah, I just want to leave, that she can take half of everything at any point in the relationship. So like when a guy looks at that and he says, okay, let's look at the other side. What is the potential upside for me? I get to have sex with the same girl forever. Like, what else? Like you do the dishes, yeah. Listen, $100,000 a month. I mean, I can hire a cooking and cleaning lady for 250 a week, and save that hassle. So a lot of guys are looking at it and saying to themselves, "What's the benefit anymore?"
So it's
And what,
almost,
what would you say is the benefit for guys to get married?
well, see, with marriage and this topic, and we've discussed the balance of feminine and masculine energy, where we've discussed how it's a better fit for a woman to kind of have her place and a man to have his place to be the provider. It almost describes how marriage doesn't even, it makes it as if those energy balances don't make sense. But I have some partial agreements with those concepts. Like I'm someone who does agree with femininity, but also believes that a woman can most certainly stand on her own 2 feet and make those big goals, big dreams. So for me, a marriage is is and can be beneficial, given that the two individuals have a similar goal to
Hmm.
work towards. Maybe her big goal is a goal that is similar to his big goal to make a bigger goal.
Hmm.
Something I would agree with. So then maybe she makes a lot of money and then he makes a lot of money. Maybe her interests are feminine, maybe his interests are masculine, but both combine to create a huge income, to create a kingdom, is
Hmm.
is something that I envision when I see a successful relationship. So
Hmm.
like I've seen a lot of physician nurse couples that have the business minded goal to flourish in that way. I've
Right.
also seen where they don't work either, they're not perfect.
Right.
And for those same reasons, it's because of the imbalance of the masculine and feminine. But it does make me wonder about the overall advantages of how like marriage laws are even written.
Right.
Again, because I'm no expert, but it is interesting to see that men do think about that. That's part of their thought process when they decide, okay, I want this long-term relationship, but where is it going to go
Yeah.
when I decide a deeper commitment? And that's a very, very difficult decision for a man to make, is what I'm gathering.
Yeah, and so like, and I want to go back to what you said. I don't think it's wrong for women to have big goals or whatever,
Hmm.
right? But I just don't think that it would be a good fit for me. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? Because like you're in med school, right? Or like you're studying to be a doctor?
Studying to be a doctor, yes.
Yeah, because I saw you studying for the MCAT when I this was after I sent you a message on Instagram and you didn't reply to me.
This is
Um,
actually you were, yeah.
um, so like, what kind of doctor do you want to be?
I'd like to be a surgeon. I'm aiming for that, but I'm
Hmm.
open to anything. I thought I was going to be working with kids as a nurse. I'm a nurse right now, but I work in the
Hmm.
OR, so that didn't happen either.
RN, BSN, what kind of nurse?
RN, BSN, and I work
Hmm.
in OR.
And then, are you currently studying for medical school or are you in medical school?
Currently studying to be in medical school.
Okay, so you like taking all the prereqs and all that stuff and not and handling that,
Yep,
and so
it's
it's tough. Are you good?
yep, it's good. I'm thinking of it now. It's really tough.
Yeah. And so you're 29. What do you like? What's your timeline? Because so that right there, if you're not even in medical school, that means you're not going to be a doctor until if you get into medical school at 30, then you're
Yep,
looking at doctor around 30 after your, after your residency, at least like 37, right?
I'd be like in my 40s or something by the time if I do pursue like the surgeon life, but I
Hmm.
could be a dermatologist. I'm open to anything as long as whoever is, in that long-term relationship with me is
Hmm.
open to that sort of that sort of life.
Hmm.
But
So,
I
but what
know,
happens when you get older and you're like, you want to have a baby too? Do you want to have a baby?
yeah, I want to have a baby. I'll have a baby in med school.
So, so that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
so now, you're gonna have a baby, but now you're gonna be older and you're gonna want to go to med school, which is extremely demanding. So, I mean, quite frankly, a relationship with us would never work. Uh,
Probably not. I wouldn't. Yeah.
it would never work out. It would never work.
Yeah.
Because I just need someone attentive to my needs, and so I think you need something attentive to your needs. But so why do you want to be? Because now let's go back to this, right? Why do you want to be a surgeon? Do you want to be a surgeon because you have like, do you have a tiger? Uh, tiger mom like over you like you got to be a fucking surgeon or what's that all about?
Oh, that's fine. I've always wanted to be one.
Hmm.
It's been something that I've been working towards, and I know that nursing has helped me get there as far as the professional readiness.
Hmm.
But I've always seen myself as someone in a leadership position, especially in the medical field. Um, I would say like a lot of my pageant life has helped me with that. So
Hmm.
I think having a partner who is open with that, with
Hmm.
my my girly surgeon ways.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm going to be a surgeon, but I may be a very very girly doctor.
Yeah,
I I have my white coat here for you.
you look beautiful. You look extremely
But
beautiful.
I think that's the kind of guy I'd be like open to, as long as he's comfortable with
Hmm.
knowing that it is going to be tough and it is going to be long, but it's going to be worth it. But
Yeah.
I know we're running out of time here, but I know I would feel so short already. But I did want to wrap up with one more question and
Sure.
ask you about the just epitome of a long-term relationship for you.
Mm.
Like, what is the one quality, if you could pinpoint one of those, is the
Mhm.
most important thing to have in a long-term relationship?
For everybody.
Um, yeah, how about we do that? How about for everyone? For everyone who
Mm.
wants that long-term relationship, what is the number one most important thing?
I would say effective communication and deciding who is the leader.
Mhm.
Okay. This whole bullshit idea that you hear these idiots in America spouting off like we are in a mutual, like we're in a 50-50 relationship. That doesn't exist. Okay. That doesn't exist. There needs to be a CEO, and there needs to be as a vice CEO, right? There needs to be, that's why organizations have CEOs and CTOs and COOs, right? They're an organization cannot have two CEOs, right? And the same thing with the household. So there needs to be effective communication, and there needs to be clear and transparent roles that are in the relationship, right? So like you're gonna, let's say me and you got married, right? And so you got married to me, so you're really happy. And I'm a YouTuber and you're a surgeon, right? I'm not gonna come and be like, Tani, I think you need to hold the scalpel like this instead of like, the way you've been holding it like this. Like what do I know about surgeon world, right? What do I know? I'm not a surgeon. I'm a YouTuber. You know what I mean? And the other way around, if you were like, hey, I think you should use these keywords on YouTube. I think you should change these analytics. And quite frankly, if I've been doing YouTube forever and you don't even know what you're talking about, I would be like, look, I will consider your opinion just because you're my partner, but I mean, you're probably just better just being quiet and like just getting out of the way. You know what I mean? That's like if I was your husband, I was like, hey, can I shadow you in the OR? You'd be like, listen, psycho, no, like stay home, like go make a YouTube video, and the other way around. You know what I mean? People need to know their roles, and I think a lot of people are afraid to stick up for themselves in relationships too, both men and women, right? Because we're afraid of being rejected and being alone. So a lot of people sometimes take a deal that's not good for them because of a scarcity mindset. But the one thing about the difference between men and women is because um you girls, you have time limit, and everybody knows it, like
Mhm.
it's just built in my DNA for me to like young hot girls. Like after if they get a little bit older, it's just like my DNA is just saying like the probability of her carrying uh healthy offspring is lower. You know what I mean? It's all over the animal kingdom. And like the same way, like a girl's like doesn't want to be with a guy that's broke. You know what I mean? Like a guy not wanting to date a girl that's like fat and ugly is the equivalent of a girl not wanting to date a guy that's like not driven and broke and lives at home with his mother. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? She
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
need
I
another
agree. I agree.
she doesn't need another liability in her life. She needs assets.
Yes, I 100% agree. I would personally like someone who is driven in whatever field they're in, as long as they are confident and they love what they do. I love men who love what they do, right?
Mhm.
That only personally motivates me is like when I see that a guy loves what he does and pursues it with confidence and exudes, a certain amount of like success, which is inspiring, then
Mhm.
that is certainly something very attractive. So
Mhm.
I would have to agree with that.
What if he wants her to stay home with the kids? What if I got married to you and I was like, Tawny, I want you to give me some Jonathan and Tawny Juniors. Like, I want to have little babies running around. I want you to wear an apron and make biscuits on Saturday. And like, we all go to the park and, have a dog and just live the whole dream.
For me to stay at home away from work and just stay at
Hmm.
home,
Yeah.
um,
I'll
I
pay for everything. I'll pay for everything.
let's just say if I found the right guy, my perception and my plan for the rest of my life changes. Like this is
And what is the right guy for you? What is the right guy?
the right guy.
Are you single now?
I'm single now, but I currently like somebody.
Yeah, me.
I currently like somebody else. Currently like
uh,
somebody else.
okay, you like somebody who likes somebody else?
No, I like somebody else, and I hope he likes me back.
Is he
So,
aware of your existence?
yes.
Okay,
Am I
okay,
like
okay.
sweating right now?
All good. It's all good. It's a hot conversation.
Yeah.
Okay,
Making
yes.
me
So
anxious right now.
so what if he came to you and he was like, "Hey, Tawny, like, your dreams are sexy, but our future is sexier."
See, so say for instance, like if I had to put my surgery hat down and
Mhm.
and kind of mold a new future.
Hmm.
I know I could still technically do that because as a doctor, I could work part-time. I could work per
Hmm.
diem. I could sort of work sometimes. I could work once a month. It doesn't really matter because if I was supposed to take care, if I had to take care of my children, I would much rather prioritize my motherhood over my career.
Hmm.
But also know that I already I already am a physician, so I can still work sometimes, like
Hmm.
a hobby. If that was a financial situation I was in where I was with a man who, who was able to provide for the family household and my extra income was something to supplement,
Hmm.
then I would of course prioritize my children and my husband because
Hmm.
I have the luxury to do that, and then maybe go and do a quick, do some rounds at the hospital like a couple times because
Hmm.
I don't need to go every day. So then in that case, yeah, like I would change. That would certainly change the
Hmm.
game.
So when you were at the hospital, who would watch the kids?
If I would probably trade off, like if he was not, working, then I'd like to work once in a while for sure.
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
think I could stay at home all the time, but I would
Right.
definitely exercise like my academic successes at some
Hmm.
point in the week.
It is this guy that you're interested in? Is he in the medical field?
Yes.
Okay. So cool. I don't think he's gonna watch this.
It's
I don't
good.
think
It's
he's gonna
fine.
watch
It's
this.
fine. I like him very much. So
Is he a doctor? Yeah.
yes.
So are you using medical school to find a guy, or you really just
Oh,
wanna?
I personally want it. I wouldn't use when I'm at work. I'm at
Mhm.
work, and I
Mhm.
don't fancy like I don't entertain a
Mhm.
relationship at work, and I don't use school as a means to find somebody. It's primarily for myself, for
Mhm.
my own strengths.
Do you
To
come from a family of doctors or medical people?
I do.
See?
I do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Mom and dad both, or what?
Yeah, both.
What do they do?
uh, it's funny because my dad was a general surgeon and my mom was an OR nurse, and now I'm an OR nurse trying to be a surgeon. So that's the story.
That is adorable. I like it a lot. Yeah,
um,
I just think so. How did your mom raise you? Because you came out. Obviously, you're former Miss Washington.
yeah.
You're a pretty sweet girl. It seems minus your bad social media manners, but other than that,
Oh my god, that's so funny. How did she raise me? So she met my dad and
Mhm.
decided to take on the mother, the mother role. And
Mhm.
similarly to what I would do is I would take a break from the career and prioritize being a mom the same way she
Mhm.
did. So she ended up being, you know, she took a more entrepreneurial set of skills to the medical field and opened up a business for my dad. I like similarly to what you said to, put put how do I say this? Raise the star up because he's the doctor. So
Yeah.
she ended up opening the practice for him, ran
Mhm.
that while he was able to see patients, and that was a very like functional sort of like
Seems
life.
very synergistic.
Yeah, it just made sense. It made sense, and she was able to keep her license and
Mhm.
maintain her own like girl boss vibes while my dad was able to be his own boss quite literally
Mhm.
as well. So if that were the case, I'd love to replicate that in my
Mhm.
future if that happened. So
How long did she take off to raise? Is it just you or the only kid? Do you have brother, sister?
I have one sister.
She older or younger?
She is younger.
Okay, how old is she?
She's 27.
27. Okay, so 2 years younger than you. And then how long did your mom take off to raise you both?
uh oh, like how much time she took off work.
Yeah, to like be mom and take home, take care of both of you guys. Because I mean, that's a 2 year gap, so that's not much time for her to really, you're pregnant, and then you have to recover post pregnancy, and then the baby was crying all night, changing diapers. We got to do vaccines. We got to take care of baby Tawny.
Yeah,
So,
she took time off, and she used that time to like go to school online and get
mhm.
business degrees. So
But like, do you think she felt pressure to do this? Because like, why can't a girl just have a baby and be like, this is it? Like, I'm just gonna be a mom, so I'm gonna like stay home. I'm gonna exercise. I'm gonna be sexy. So like post pregnancy, I'm not. You
Well,
know,
yeah, a resident physician doesn't make a lot of money.
I
Uh,
know it's like 40, 50 grand, like for those first 2 years.
yeah, it's good, but like not enough to sustain like a lot. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so at the end of the day, it worked out. So
Yeah.
I'm very driven by my parents,
Mm-hmm.
and something that I hope like as hopefully as feminine energy to create a story to share with my children. Hey, if there's a goal, if there's a dream that you want, that it's certainly possible, and you can certainly be hot and sexy and do all these things.
Definitely. So how old was your mom when she got married to your dad?
mm, 34 actually, 34.
Okay, okay. And then so she had you a lot later then.
Yes, a lot later.
How old was she when she had you?
Let me see. I know she got married at 30. I know it was all between the ages of 30, 32 and 34 when everything happened. Marriage,
Mm-hmm.
like in Vegas or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then she had me very quickly after, and then my sister.
So you're okay with having babies post 35?
Me personally, yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
open to it.
Okay. Okay.
I'm open to waiting for the right guy, and if the right guy is here, then I would love to start a family with the right guy. And if
Hmm.
that doesn't happen, then I'm happy being just me. So,
Single for life? Are you really happy for being single for life?
oh no, but
I didn't believe
I
that at
hope
all.
that
When
it doesn't happen.
I didn't believe that statement at all. That seemed really forced.
It sounds
Seems
like
like a
something
very
I have to say.
you delivered it with beauty pageant finesse for sure, but there was no real
You
happiness
know me
behind
too well already. This is gonna be funny.
it.
We're so out of time.
I think we're good.
Okay.